Many blessings to you and namaste. I'm Pamela Aaralyn, Clear Conduit Channel since age 5. For those of you who don't know me, you can find me at aurareader.com. And yes, I'm excited to be here too. I'm looking at some of your statements in chat, and I'd like to just give you a brief heads up on how this webinar panel works. For those of you who haven't operated within it before, we do not take live inquiries on screen, but we do take them in the questions and answers section, which is below my face here at the bottom. And it says Q&A, looks like a little folder. So you click on that and then just load up your however many questions you want. I won't be able to get to all of them. There's a significant amount of people here today. And again, thank you so much for following this work. It means the world to me. And you give me a platform from which I can honor my purpose. And in any small way that I can help the world, I'm here to do that today. This is an interesting being. So go ahead and put your questions for Yogananda in the questions and answers section. I'm going to give a brief little channeling, just a brief little 2 or 3 minutes worth of an intro statement from him, because he does want to talk about something. And then we're going to go directly into your questions, again, with the questions and answers section right below my face. That's where you put your questions. Please don't put them in chat because it scrolls so fast that I just can't keep up with it. So, and I will also be taking a look at some of your questions from the Facebook events section. So feel free to leave them there as well. The topic of my discourse today will be the mankind's quest for eternal life purpose, as you are often engaged in this quest. The hope that a purpose will bring happiness and completion is a temporary relief. And for many who have sought God within, this search is now over. God is the purpose. Realization is the purpose. Many may doubt that God is the purpose of your life. But if you find God, you find you. If you believe that the purpose of life is happiness, God is happiness. He is bliss. He is love. He is endless, boundless joy. No one else can give you this happiness but you. Nothing external can be permanent. If life provided you all that you wanted, even after a time, you would become dissatisfied and need more. But there is one state of being that is permanent, and that is joy. Joy is the inner experience that all of you seek. If you find this joy within, you will find it in everything without. And in God, you will tap the reservoir of endless bliss. The joy of God is boundless, endless, and forever new. Nothing can disturb you when you're in that consciousness. And when you rest in the state of deep meditation and prayer, joy arises like bubbles from within, roused by no other stimulus. Those who have not experienced the silence of true meditation do not know what real joy is. Even the pleasure of the senses won't last, but the joy of God is everlasting and incomparable. The melting of everything in spirit is a state that none can describe. A great bliss is experienced, eternal fullness of joy, knowledge, and divine love. If we are attuned to God, this perception is limitless, pervading everywhere in the oceanic flow of the divine presence. Man has come to earth to know God. Any other reason is a part of his contract simply to know God further. And in knowing God, there is no pain, no age, no war, no death, only eternal assurance. And in that life, nothing is destroyed. Those who want to love God will enter the kingdom of God from deep within themselves. Those who seek will find. Those who ask will receive. Please develop an ever-increasing desire for Him, day and night. God will acknowledge your love, and you will know joy and ever-enduring happiness. All is light, all is joy, all is peace, all is love. God is all. Okay, let's move on to your questions now that we're done with that. I'm going to go ahead and open them, and I'm going to be alternating between the questions here on the screen and between the Facebook event questions. That's so interesting because someone's asking, what is my life purpose? Well, he didn't say joy, but he did say for you that it delves into self-love. Oh, this is a good question. Let's talk about this. The question is, my grandmother had Alzheimer's disease, and my grandfather, had Alzheimer's disease, and he passed into sleep last night. You have my blessings, by the way, for your family. Can you be at peace when you die if you had this disease? He's nodding yes. He said, it is not a disease, it is a conditioning and a purposeful, even somewhat blissful distraction from the illusion. And within this state, one arises out of inquiry and into trust. I believe he was at peace. That's my sense. Again, much love to your family. Okay, that's an interesting question about the Self-Realization Fellowship. We'll go ahead and answer that from Anonymous. Are you still actively guiding the SRF, the organization you founded from where you are now? He said, I actively guide this fellowship and I actively guide many teachers. He discussed this with me yesterday. I've been in and out of meditation with him for a couple of days now, pretty strongly. And I asked him a question about SRF and the direction it was going. And he said, much like any organization, it has little ebbs and flows, and things come in between the nooks and crannies of the organization, catalyze teachers within, and things temporarily fall apart in order to fall back together. Excuse me, he corrects me. He said, in order to come back together, fall apart in order to come back together. And that's what's happening right now with SRF. Someone's asking in chat, what is SRF? It's his Self-Realization Fellowship. He founded it. Here's another question that he actually discussed with me yesterday as well, and I found it really interesting. The question is, what are your previous incarnations? Please name them. So we're going to do that now because and many of you may feel free to ask about this, because I definitely did ask him why he chose his prior incarnations. Some of them made sense, but one of them specifically did not make sense. in the logical way of, you would ask, why would he choose to be William the Conqueror? That actually is true. And I asked him because he gave me a list of all of his incarnations. And he is saying, again, I chose this for the nature of contrast, so that when I came into the incarnation as Yogananda, that I would perceive a deep appreciation, a profound appreciation for equality within compassion, and inevitably for divine love. So I thought that was interesting. He chose that incarnation, William the Conqueror, in order to expand further divine love, ultimately. He also stated, and he's coming through again to let me know that, yes, he was Arjuna of the Gita, and Sir Henry Neville. That was interesting to me because he came through in his incarnation this past time and told people that he believed that he was William Shakespeare, but from beyond the veil, he told me that he understood that he was actually Sir Henry Neville, which was William Shakespeare's distant cousin, who helped write many, many of Shakespeare's works. So that interested me as well, because he's a profound writer, and that just really made sense. Aside from that, he also stated that he has been many animals, not domesticated animals, particularly wild animals, cats, and trees, and that he shared with me an experience in which he incarnated once as a diamond in order to understand how minerals could thrive within Earth. So that was really interesting. Okay, let's move on. And this is another really interesting question, and I cannot wait to give you his answer about this because it really fascinated me. He's in alignment with many of the things that I'm working on in alchemy, particularly those things that affect health. Here's the question. What is the spiritual reason people are born with health issues? How can we better our health? And is this connected to physical immortality? That was question one of you gave me yesterday. And he answered me for about an hour. So let's see if we can conjure it a little bit further. Okay, yeah, he's saying the same thing he did yesterday. He's saying there are 3 forms of illness: physical, mental, and spiritual. The physical is caused by toxic conditions, infections, and what many people believe are accidents, but all of this is in divine alignment based on soul purposes. Mental illness is caused by the energy of fear, worry, anger, and other emotional inharmonies. Soul sickness is caused by man's ignorance of his true divine relationship with God. Ignorance to one's connection to Source is the supreme illness. When one banishes ignorance, he also banishes the causes of all physical, mental, and spiritual disease, for wisdom is the greatest cleanser. Attempting to overcome suffering by the limited power of material curative effects will often breed disappointment, as the illness will then return. In the unlimited power of spiritual methodology, man finds a permanent cure for the disease of the mind, body, and soul. This boundless power of healing is sought by connected to the wisdom of God within you. And the kingdom of God is and has always been within you. All things are possible with this divine help. Unless one really knows God, he isn't justified in saying that only the mind exists and that one does not need to proactively obey health laws or to use any physical aids for healing. Until self-realization is attained, common logical sense should be used in all one does, while simultaneously never forming any state of doubt of God's presence and power. If you experience the energy of doubt, ask for affirmation of your own faith in God's omnipresent divine power. Again, medicines affect the chemistry of the physical body in its outer composition within the bodily cells only. It does not alter the inner atomic structure of the life principle coding of the cells. No physical cure of disease is possible until the healing power of God has corrected from within the imbalance of lifetrons, or intelligent life energy, within the radiant body. Thank you. And for those of you who wonder why I do that, I just kind of bow a little bit to let him know and you know that that's the end of his statement to me. And we're going to move on to the next question, because shortly thereafter, I asked him a question when we were in that meditation, and I'd like to bring that answer back in now, because we just kind of expanded upon health for a significant amount of time. And the question I asked him was, how do I increase my natural resistance to disease? And I asked particularly about fasting and how that was involved. So this is why this answer is coming about. And he's stating, fasting is a natural method of healing. Even when animals are sick, they too fast. And the body has a natural function of cleansing itself and maintaining much needed rest through fasting. And unless one is weak within the heart, regular short fasts have been recommended by myself and by many yogis. Another good method of physical healing is through aligned herbal remedies and herbal extracts. And in using these medicines, however, you may find that the herbs are not powerful enough to bring an efficient or suitable healing, or that the herbs are so powerful that they irritate your bodily tissues instead of healing them. Even exposure to certain forms of healing rays will burn the physical tissues if one isn't emotionally aligned and prepared for healing at a more profound inner level. Better than medicines are the rays of the sun. In them is the strongest healing power. One should bathe in the sun for at least 10 minutes every day, preferably in the morning or evening. And this will help the body become supplied with life energy to destroy all harmful microbes. Spiritually healthy beings have a natural resistance to all disease, especially to infections. Physical illness occurs when the resisting power of the blood cells have been diminished by improper eating habits, such as overeating or eating foods high in toxicity. In my most recent incarnation, I believed that sexual indulgence also rendered the body more vulnerable to illness. What I've discovered since then is that this is only true when sex is not within a sacred partnership. Sacred tantric practices produce a healthier mind, body, and soul state. The majority of the human conscious collective do not actively participate in sacred sexual practices, hence why most sexual interaction inhibits physical health. Another way to converse your vital energy is to follow a healthy, balanced diet free of toxins and to indulge in the act of smiling. That was a fun answer. Let's continue. Smiling and laughter induces the frequency of celebration, which is the highest frequency of energy possible on planet Earth. No disease can exist for long within this frequency. For he who finds joy within himself soon discovers that his body is charged with radical electric currents of life energy, not from food, but from God. One may also cleanse the body with herbs and fasting, but keep in mind that this is only a limited effect. When one is joyful within, one invites the help of the inexhaustible power of God. And this is a sincere, authentic joy that is found within, not one that is feigned outwardly. Then this joy activates abundance on all levels. A genuine smile or genuine laughter distributes the cosmic currents of prana to every cell within the body. And this is why a happy man is less subject to disease, as celebration attracts into the body a greater supply of universal energy. While there are many things I mean to discuss with you about the energy of God power, as this is the same power you want to remember is within your body, there is a way to bring in that power. And this way is through the communion of meditation. When you commune with Source in meditation, the healing is permanent, as it is then divine healing. The supreme power of Source within you may be invoked by consistent faith and unceasing prayer. While eating properly and caring for the body, continuously commune with God in prayer. Here is an example of a healing prayer. Lord, can you heal me because you control the life atoms and subtle conditions of the body? Thank you. It's when you go to God and receive supreme healing power that the life energy is then directed into the atoms of the bodily cells, and this then produces instantaneous healing. Please consider that the attempt to change one's habit from physical to spiritual methodology should be gradual. It takes time to change one's ways of thinking from dependence on food to dependence on mind. He capitalized the M, by the way. That was clear in my head when he was just saying that. The mind takes time to be trained to believe in divine aid. Out of the great power of Source, all atomic energy is manifesting and sustaining every cell of the connected physical universe. As moving images and video are sustained by a beam of light coming from the camera, so are all of us sustained by the cosmic beam, the divine light pouring from the camera of eternity. When you look within to find that beam, you will behold its unlimited power to rebuild atoms, electrons, and lifetrons in all bodily cells that may be out of order. Here are some informations that invoke that light. So first one. The healing power of spirit is flowing through all the cells of my body. I am made of the one universal God substance. Number 2. Thy perfect light is omnipresent in all of my body parts. Wherever that healing light is manifest, there is perfection. I am well, for perfection is within me. Number 3. I am the changeless. I am the infinite. I am not a mortal being that will perish. I am the deathless, changeless, infinite. Okay, let me move to another one of your questions. Thank you. What is the demiurge in Gnosticism? He is also referred to as Yahweh, Yaldabaoth, and Jehovah. Okay, he's moving his hands in 3 different directions as he stands before me, and he's saying that that was a split off from 3 different notions. And then the language would change, which changed the name. The frequencies changed of the human conscious collective, which changed the language. That's why all of the languages are somewhat similar, but then still varied enough to make people believe that there are different gods. Jehovah, he's stating, is not a part of that 3. That's something else. That's a different prime creator energy. And Yahweh is derived from the frequency of the sun. He wants to make that clear as well. Oh, what's that word? He's telling me something I've never heard before. I might have to spell it. Maybe pentagrammatron? Someone's going to know what that means. I'm going to write that down so that sometimes when I channel through, it just goes that way. Pentagrammatron is a sacred shape that embodies the source of that word. That will help you a lot for those of you alchemists who are watching this to know what specific spiritual coding Yahweh and Yahshua and Joshua and Jesus and all of these beings that are all one come from. They are derived from this sacred shape And that's something that you should know in your alchemy principles. For those of you who follow alchemy like me, and for those of you who follow Reiki as well, that will be very... he did not say the tetragrammatron. He said the pentagrammatron or pentagrammaton, something like that. Someone will know. I don't always know these things. We'll look it up later for you, and maybe we'll have a Facebook discussion. Let me look at some more of your questions. Okay, that's a good one. Someone wanted to know, was Yogananda an avatar? So we'll answer that. He states, I was a fully liberated human with an avatar presence. I was realized, I did remember all of my lifetimes. I did not name myself an avatar. Okay, his teacher did. Okay, his teacher named him an avatar. That's what he's saying. He did not personally name himself an avatar. Hope that answers your question. Oh, what a good question there. I'm going to take that and run with it because I know he's going to love it. Hold on, I'm going to need some water for this one. How do we break free from illusion? Yeah. He's stating, this freedom comes when you think of newness, of making a fresh start. Align your minds to perceive that each moment is new. Do not fear the now. Being aware of your feeling state in the now will breed actions that cause you to consciously change your thought patterns. This adaptation breeds an inevitable realization of God within. Do not allow your past experiences to rule your consciousness. This is key. Leave behind any limiting conditions you have placed on your happiness and ability to reach your goals. Shift the focus of your thoughts from the negative to a more believable, positive energy focus. This will be an act of choice. This requires accountability and spiritual responsibility. This requires awareness of your emotional states as they arise, minus resistance, minus fear, minus doubt. This switches you from being in a state of obstacles to a state of possibility within wonder, from passivity and indecision in the face of circumstances into realizing that you came to Earth to shape your own destiny. Everything you wish to be is already within you in divine accordance to your life path, which you chose in spirit form. You can change illusion by the conscious choosing of positive thinking and concrete, believable actions. If you consciously affirm and practice the qualities you wish to manifest, you'll bring out these traits of God from within you, and you then will become them. If old patterns arise, love them. Love the part of yourself that is causing the patterns to arise, as all requires love. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to another question. I think you're discussing empathy in this question. Let's read it together out loud and see what he says. He's picking this one out. The question is, I would like to know how I could get a more stable vibration to be able to maintain my own emotional state rather than absorbing the one around me, and how best to recognize what emotion and thought is mine and what is empathically picked up. If someone is picking up empathic vibration from the collective, would that mean that he or she is to help heal the collective? Okay, so his answer is causing me to giggle a little bit, so I'm just going to sit with this. He says, and for those of you who are volunteers to this earth, I thank you, but you hold a perpetual state of resistance to your own path. Within the path of the volunteer, within the path of the empath particularly, you become excited and joyful and blissful in this state of constant inquiry and awareness that you could have chosen to lift the frequency of the collectives. But then you resist, and then you say, so when am I done? When is it over? When does it get to stop? All is source. When you recognize the divinity in all of the emotions, you stand within them in the present moment of awareness without inquiring, which is mine? Is this mine? If you feel it, it is yours. If it is reflected upon you, it is yours. Of course, it belongs to the collective, and it too belongs within you. And it is your mirror. Receive, walk within each emotional state, minus doubt, minus fear, minus worry. Inquiry is divine if wisdom minus fear is involved. Thank you. Let's move on to another one of your questions. That's a great question. I'll take that one now. The question is, how do I transcend ego? He states, your ego was created by you. Your ego was created for you to love as a portion of your divinity. Your ego is here to help you question all for comparable reference point of what is source. Your ego initially helps you perceive separation in the illusion and within the Maya. Okay, that's another word for illusion. Okay, he's nodding. And initially this is necessary, for only within the perception of illusion can you fully stand in appreciation of oneness and unity. Love whatever arises within you, even if you are perceiving these emotions within a component of ego. All is love, all deserves love. All arises from love, all is a call to love. Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next question. There's a lot of questions in one here. Are you in contact with Babaji? He said, in direct alignment, perpetually, consistently, and lovingly. Where are you living now? He states, to answer simply, I am within all. To answer more specifically, I'm in Tibet. I am within a male child in India, particularly. His parents are aware of this. And I am operating as a guide for many channels and teachers on your planet. Thank you. Oh, that's a good question. Are you with your lovely guru? He said, and we are one. He's nodding yes. What a great question. I'm loving your questions. Okay, let's move forward into this one. The question is, when masters speak about real earnestness and that being the only real way to connect, to meet God and recognize ourselves as that pure being, what does that word mean exactly? He said the frequency of this word is embodied and embedded with purity and sincerity, a genuine desire, not from ego, but from soul. Authenticity, sincerity, yeah, I love that. Thank you. Let's move on to another one of your questions. Oh my goodness, what a question. We'll take it. Who really is or was Babaji, and is there spiritual gain to be had by reaching out to him? He was a being that Yogananda is calling him the transcendent star. Talk about star being. In other words, I believe what he tried to express, and he's nodding. Okay, so he's confirming what I'm thinking. Is that this Babaji was a complete, when I say star seed or star being, normally there is some level of human component, that is the human self. Babaji had none. He was 1000% star seed. So that's why there is a lot of spiritual gain to be had if you feel aligned, is what he's saying. If you feel that your soul inquires, then this is your teacher. And for some, this will align, and for some, it will not. This is a star being. And again, Yogananda is calling Babaji the transcendent star, for those of you who want to do your research on what that means later. This is a really good example of things that within this question. This happens to many people who have chronic illnesses. So I believe that we should take it. We should take this question. But before, someone is stating in our chat that they're not sure their questions are going through. Your questions are going through, but he has such a loving, calming presence that I literally fell asleep and went into a trance for an hour before this program. So I'm trying to operate quickly and keep up, but I'm just not keeping up. So I'm going to try to speed up for you now, okay? But he's just very calming, so it's hard for me to operate quickly within that. Okay, here's the question. My daughter has had a mysterious illness for 2 years, constant abdominal pain, nausea, dizziness, chronic fatigue, etc. She's positive and active and has developed herself spiritually, worked on changing her belief systems. She has frequented all kinds of regular doctors, alternative ones, etc., but still has her physical symptoms. What can we do? Okay, what he would like to explain, and he's showing this in some categories, he operates in that way sometimes. He said there is a component, there is a type of human who comes through a soul contract in which they choose illness as a method of expression. Normally this aligns with the purpose of surrender. And within the purpose of surrender, he is stating, is the purpose of agape. So in order for a human to reach agape or unconditional love state, they must have developed the purpose of surrender, previously. So that alignment is something that likely was chosen from a pre-birth intention. I hope you understand his answer there. Now, for those of you who did not align with that, what you can do is focus more on the basics. Again, back to his answer previously about food. It looks like she's already done that. And what he's stating is that she falls in the category of having an alignment to operate eventually in full trust, then surrender, then unconditional love. So the frequencies of all of those purposes just is going to bring her straight into such a divine threshold, is what he's saying. And he said, why would you take this from her? Why would you take this opportunity within such an expanded divine soul? She chose it because she knows that she can. Well, that's a really difficult answer. You, as a mother, because I know this is the mother asking the question, I'm just kind of holding you in my heart space for a moment. If you feel that, much love. Okay, let's move on to another question. How do I meditate when I don't have time to meditate? He wants to answer that one. He said by releasing the belief that time exists. Secondly, time can be transcended through mastery of the physical and mental and soul states of being. Time is transcended. This is why one can notice that yogis meditate for days, hours, days, weeks without food or water, and then they feel as if they have meditated for a brief moment, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and they awaken rejuvenated. Initially, in the beginning stages of meditation, you are cleansing all of the cell membranes of your body in this meditation through the cosmic rays. And with visualization, you can operate by visualizing sacred shapes in combination with the frequencies of the cosmic rays. This will cause your body to become less distracted. He's making me clear my throat because I'm distracted from my throat chakra. So he says, and then you will experience less throat clearing and coughing and sneezing. And you know how when you're meditating and you want to just itch everywhere, but you suddenly get scratchy and distracted. That's stage one that can be transcended by focusing on visualizations of sacred symbology in combination with the cosmic rays. So those visualizations will help you. Alchemists and Reiki masters may know what I'm talking about. Feel free to ask me further if you want me to expand upon that. Let's move on to your next question. What is the most effective way to help others discover the source within them? Show them your own self-discovery. Reflect your own self-discovery of source within you. This teaching is with your actions. Cannot be taught with your words or by any methodology. I think he's saying, walk your talk. He's laughing at me and nodding. Okay. Let's move on to another question. Oh, that question is in chat, but because it's such a good question, I'm going to take it anyway and break my own rules here. The question is the Gayatri mantra really the most powerful mantra in the world? What impact does chanting mantras have on our health and healing process? I'm so glad you asked that because he loves to talk about these things, as do I. He states, Sanskrit is one of the original, and definitely, from my perspective, the most powerfully embedded language that can be utilized for healing, for connection to source, for healing on all levels. And the Gayatri mantra does align to millions of humans currently in your collective, and this is why it is very powerful. Would it be the most powerful? I cannot comment. This is all based upon your current alignment and where you stand in your healing, where you stand in your development. The impact of chanting a mantra awakens source within you from sound codes deep within your cellular coding, and this restores your divinity. This heals and brings an alignment back to your original codes that you bring in throughout many of your dimensional planes of existence. And then you connect codes throughout parallel dimensional environments. You connect these codes that are there, but you are not aware. And this is very powerful. My interpretation of that is that he could be stating that this is healing DNA codes. He is nodding and confirming. Can anyone spell that mantra for you? Yes, it's Gayatri. Okay, let's move on. That's a good question. I'll take it. How do I become love, or how do I become enlightened? He's stating the process of enlightenment is through the illumination of mind, body, and spirit. Even within your first moments on earth, humans have always desired and inquired about illumination. Understand these facets elementally. Combine elements of light, sound, water, earth, all of the elements at your disposal and beyond. The element of ether is, quite frankly, the strongest element that is missing in all spiritual modalities. In order to become love, one must embody the frequency of trust. One must eliminate doubt and eliminate fear, as fear is the opposite frequency of love. When all fear and doubt is eliminated, love naturally is. Love is a being state, not an action state. And when you trust, you align to simply become love. Thank you. Let's move on to your next question. We have about 15 more minutes, just giving everyone a heads up, and we have 50 open questions, so I'm trying to keep up. Oh, we'll answer that. Touche. When you were alive and you cautioned against channeling, how do we know that this is authentically you that is channeling and speaking through Pamela? Well, why do you want me to answer this? Put me on the spot. He states, I am channeling through many beings. Channeling is simply listening without doubt and trusting the response. In my incarnation, I believed it dangerous, only because at that time, many human beings did not trust in their own perceptions. And it is still an occurrence through this day. Choose your channels with caution. Make sure that you have aligned towards a clear channel who operates minus ego and with love. This is step one. In my incarnation, there was too much doubt in the human conscious collective, and there was a massive filter in the human ego. Step two, in choosing your channel, please understand that a channel must be balanced in all facets of his or her existence. Step three, in choosing your channel, please understand that a channel is responsible, accountable, and ethical in their presence. Thank you. I am interpreting his response as basically, okay, he didn't really align with it when he was alive because of the human conscious collective of doubt and the ego filter, and he does align with it now. He hasn't channeled with a lot of people. It did take me a long time to be able to capture his presence. I've been trying to channel him for about 8 months now, and it did take me a while. For those of you who remember when I began to channel Dolores Cannon, I had the same experience. And he is highly evolved. And when people go into an evolved state, when they stand in their fifth dimensional, sixth dimensional presence, they're more than likely to come through a channel at that point. Dolores once told me, oh, well, I will never come through a channel. And we see how that worked out. But she's channeling to many people, by the way, not just me. And he is also channeling through many people, not just me. But it took him a while. And what I've noticed is that humans go through these collective stages of their development after they pass through the veil. And the first stage is I'm going to figure out everything out, what's going on. The second stage is just reconnection with source, going back to source, joining, experiencing that divine bliss and divine love. And then the final stage is, oh, I want to go back and help. And that's when they find the channel. That's when they find me and you and others. So hopefully that answered your question. Another thing that I would like to talk about in regards to channeling, you should ask the beings that you're operating with. And this is something that is within the law of three. It's one of the many components of the sacred law of three. And one of the rules there is question the being that you are bringing in. So say I'm going to be bringing in Yogananda. I will sit with that for a moment and I will ask a question, and I will ask 3 times, because 3 is just a alchemical number, and it's what makes the world go around. So if you ask the same question 3 times, you should receive the same answer from the being that you're trying to channel. So for example, if I were to say, what color is my hair? Not that that's a very appropriate question, but, and he says, why, it's brown. And then the next time I answer the question shortly thereafter, he says, it's brown and red. And then the next time he says something different, you notice if there is any difference, whether it be in tone, inflection, grammar, anything that comes about words themselves, if there's a difference, you don't have that being. So you need to try again. That's a little tip for those of you who want to channel. Let's see, we have about 10 more minutes and I need to move faster. Hold on. Okay. How relevant is the practice of Kriya Yoga for the new wave of ascension? He's stating there are many ways of ascension and many are operating in parallel existences. The presence and practice of Kriya was and is still highly relevant to most people who are operating within a 5th dimensional existence and who choose to align with a 5th dimensional ascension. Many will aspire to go beyond the 5th dimension, in which case Kriya is a great foundation. Thank you. Huh? Calendar, Mayan calendar question. Okay. 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 I may not be able to pronounce this. Hopefully he just steps right in and operates my tongue, because I don't pronounce things very well sometimes. Let's see. Sri Yukteswar had written of a 24,000-year calendar, which said that we are off the Kali Yuga age and are now in the, another word, hang on, in the Dwapara Yuga age. And Mayan calendar with a 26,000-year cycle says that we just ended a cycle in December 2012. From your perspective in spirit, which calendar is more applicable to mankind today? He's shaking his head and he's saying, none of them. Okay, back to your question. Is the astrological influence today more conducive to spiritual development? He's shaking his head no. He won't even let me finish the question. I'm going to finish the question. Okay, is the astrological influence today more conducive to spiritual development and ascension, or is it all still dependent on the individual effort? Now he's going like this. He's going, now you get it. You can receive this now. He said, your answer is within your question. Yes, it is all dependent on your individual collectives, your individual levels of spiritual accountability. Time does not exist. But initially, when you perceive the illusion, all inquiry will be based upon this. When you release this inquiry and when you step into the wisdom that you can transcend time, then no calendars, no astrological teachings will benefit you further. So in other words, is it a stage of development, like a foundation? We can learn from it for a time and then, yeah, he nods. Okay. And I'm not going to comment much on that because I have no background in astrology, like absolutely zero. Every now and then I look at my horoscope. That's about it. Just for fun. Oh, that's an interesting question, and it's about time. We're back to questions about time. Okay, the question is, I heard that if you pray early morning before sun rises, somewhere between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. is considered the best time. Is this true? And if yes, why and how? He states, within the circadian rhythms of your bodies, many are aligned towards morning and a deeper meditational state in which one can transcend the mind can occur in this time. The cosmic rays of the sun begin to build at this time, and then they amplify by 5 a.m., depending upon your location. If between the lunar rays and the solar rays, if in between this brief moment of time you can meditate, you are operating within a cellular state of balance. This is optimal for healing. That's new to me. Thank you. I didn't expect that answer. That's a good question. When I read your book, I feel so connected to you. Is it possible that the vibration of the words alone can change your life? He's stating the vibration of all sacred words can change your life as they can feed you spiritually. Thank you. Mobility issues and health. Okay, he wants to talk about that. The question is, I am experiencing mobility issues. In your opinion, is the root cause physical, mental, or spiritual? He says it is a challenge within mobility issues because you, within your ego state, are evidencing in every voluntary and involuntary motion that you are not trusting your movement. You do not trust action of source. Can you reframe your belief system? Can you begin to test this belief system? If you move even momentarily and you prove to your nature, you prove to your body and your mind that you can move, this will test your alignment further. When you step into the frequency of wonder, this activates trust at a divine cellular level. Trust is what heals. Trust, then acceptance, then surrender, and then love. In that order, the frequencies of these emotional core belief states will provide healing towards physical and emotional mobility issues. You are physically immobile because you are emotionally immobile. You are emotionally stagnant. The beliefs of stagnation can cause your body to follow suit. Please take heed. Thank you. Just a few more minutes, so I'm gonna just look through these questions and grab a few. Can you ask Yogananda if he's helping anyone write books now, since he has passed? He's nodding yes. take another one. Do devotees in groups that have broken away from SRF receive your spiritual support also, or should they all join SRF? He said there is no should, there is no should not. If within their alignment they require no further inquiry from SRF, then this is loving for them. Of course they receive my support. Thank you. Okay, we're going to take one more. He's telling me to scroll down, that there's something really important that I'm missing, and I'm looking. Okay. I don't know what this means, but apparently you do, and apparently he does. This is the last one that we're going to answer today. Can you explain in an easy way how the 5 koshas work? How should we use the koshas to know and experience at all times we are not them? Okay. He's stating your emotions, your heart center will guide you towards one as opposed to another, and you will use them one at a time. You will utilize them one at a time, depending upon your heart center. And he said again, your heart is the compass towards knowing how to use them and in which order, and let your emotional frequency be the guide. And he said, you don't have to logically know what's best and how to use them. It is an intuitive trust. Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm going to close here. Thank you all for being here today. I really, really loved operating within your energies. It's been such a calming experience. He is such a calming being. I feel like I'm still in a meditation trance and that I will be there for many hours. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And let's come back soon. We have Nostradamus next week, so that should be really interesting. And I've really, really enjoyed this. We're going to do it again next year. Much love. Namaste.